whenever you are.
Okay, so to start, can you please state your first and last name and spell them?
Yep, Amber Berge, AMBERBERGE.
Okay. How long have you been a Pi Phi member?
I've been a Pi Phi since 2013, fall of 2013. So coming up on 2 years this fall.
What does being a Pi Beta Phi mean to you?
It means a lot of different things. That's hard to answer in one thing, but to me, I mean, the main thing is it really means sisterhood, I guess, is a big thing, and it also means being a part of something bigger. Before I went for a year my freshman year not being in a sorority, and didn't really know what I was missing till I joined a sorority and realized the kind of bigger picture. And here at Monmouth, especially the history of being a Pi Phi, that we were founded here so long ago, one of the first sororities founded. So I think the biggest thing it means to me is definitely that kind of being something bigger than myself.
How much history are the members required to learn?
We learn a lot during our new member process, a lot about the names of all the founders, our values, which were established when we were founded, and where we were founded, which is pretty easy for us because it was here. But that's something that our members learn here and elsewhere. But there's a lot as far as that they learn in the new member process, kind of the general information. And as you go, you learn more about the founders, how they came to be at Monmouth, how they established Pi Phi, and a lot more goes into it. So actually quite a bit of history that people don't really expect.
What can you tell us about the history and in more particular Jenny?
I don't know how good of an answer I'm going to have for this. Well, I mean, what I do know that we learn a lot about is Holt House, which was a big part of Pi Phi's founding. That's where Pi Phi was actually originally kind of established and founded in 1867. So when we talk about it, thinking that far back to a time when at Monmouth has always let women in, but in a time where women weren't allowed in to a lot of colleges, or colleges were just starting that, and there were barely any women's fraternities. So, I mean, that's kind of the main history, I guess, that we learn about Pi Phi in Monmouth, kind of specifically with the founders. I mean, we focus a lot on the kind of the courage that it took to do that. Unfortunately, I can't think of anything specifically on Jenny. I know we learn a lot about the different founders, but I just can't pinpoint one thing, unfortunately. I can always get you more information if you want to know.
That's okay. Why was Pi Beta Phi formed?
Let's see. We have a whole mission statement, but I can't think of it off the top of my head. But I know at the time at Monmouth, the reason it was formed is, and the reason a lot of women's fraternities and sororities were formed is because at the time men had their fraternities and they kind of banded together with that. But at the time in 1867, I mean, there was a lot of other issues women were struggling with that they needed a way to kind of band together for a lot of rights. At Monmouth, luckily, women were allowed to go to college there, but a lot of other colleges didn't allow that. There were a lot of rights that women didn't have, so it was founded on the purpose of so that women could band together a little bit more like men did in fraternities and have more of a platform and a way to voice their opinions and also, foster friendships and all those things that sororities are better known for now, the friendship and those different things, but at the time too, a lot of the lack of rights that women had. So,
in what ways, if any, do you honor your founders?
Well, we have Founders Day, which our celebration is coming up, and here we're lucky enough that we have a few members who are buried in Monmouth, and their graves are here, so we go and we give flowers to the graves. We have a celebration with our alums and kind of remember that. We talk about our values, which were established by our founders. And that's just not on Founders Day. We consistently do things with our values, as well as we have in our meetings, one of our officers goes over a lot the history of our founders, how they ended up here, how they founded Illinois Alpha, how they started to founded other sororities and other places. And I mean, we even celebrate their birthdays when we know it's their birthday. It kind of gets announced in chapter, and a lot of people take it upon themselves to celebrate their birthdays. And Yeah, we do a lot with, I mean, everything we do now is based on what was originally done. So almost everything we do celebrates our founders, but we have specific things like our Founders Day and going to the graves and that kind of thing, which is really cool for us to have. And we have all our meetings in Holt House too, which is really cool. So,
How do you feel Pi Beta Phi is affecting women's rights today?
I think that it affects women's rights today kind of in the same way it did before, where it's a way for a big group of women to be together and you kind of feel stronger in numbers. So you almost immediately have, right now, 65 girls who you can count on to be behind you for a cause that is worthy of fighting for, I guess. So I think it doesn't play as much of a role as it did because there's still like a struggle for women's rights, but not as much as it was in the need for it to be founded then. And we've overcame a lot of that since then. But I think it has more of a potential to play a role in that. And it really is important to have that kind of way to band together with so many women and have so much in common already that you can kind of fight towards what you think needs to be fought towards, I guess.
Do you have any final thoughts or words on Jenny, the founders, or just Pi Beta Phi in general?
Um, I don't really think so. I mean, it's definitely as a Pi Phi, having those founders who most of them came from here and founded here at Monmouth College is such a like beyond cool thing that I think we a lot of times don't even think about enough. But the fact that 12 women, in 1867 decided this is something they wanted to do and made it happen, and it's still, I mean, there's so many chapters throughout the world now that wouldn't have been a sorority at all if it hadn't been for those 12 women so long ago. And coming from here is like a really cool experience that I never even realized, I guess, how cool it was until I became a part of it. So,
Thank you.
yeah, no problem.